It was a year and a half ago, January, one of our daughters finished midterms. So my wife and I wanted to, we had about an hour or so, we took her to a milchik restaurant because she finished midterms, and it would be a chance by Yiskra Gelas Bat Shnehem to spend some quality time with her. I'm not mentioning the name of the restaurant. No, it's an excellent restaurant, but because of the story that happened, I don't want it to chalil be avak, lashon hara at all. And off to the side, we're maybe about 20 feet away, we're about to order in this milchik restaurant, and we start hearing yelling. I'm not embellishing this maisa in iota. We turn and we see that there's 4 young women at the table yelling, mamish lambasting the waiter. A young Israeli kid, not religious, 23 years old, no yarmulke. I'm too machshav the oilam to tell you everything that they yelled. But to give you a dugma, they're from a different country, and they said, no, we ordered this dish with cheese, and in the country we come from, this is not an adequate amount of cheese. And we came for the early lunch special where we get hot and cold, so don't you offer me hot or cold. They were yelling in such an unconscionable way, you wouldn't believe it. Now I want to tell you, because I have to tell you, as chatoy ani masker, I made a mistake. I should have, and it still eats me a little bit right here. I should have gotten up and walked over to these women and said, as a Rav in this Kehillah, you have to get out. You can't speak to anybody that way. You're yelling at this kid, this waiter, are you out of your mind? You gotta leave. But only the Rebbeinu Shalom knows why I didn't get up and tell him that. This kid is crying, he doesn't answer back. My wife turns to me and says, Ephraim Eliyahu, you're always giving that shiur about the Gemara and Shabbos, that if you're humiliated but you don't respond, if you suffer in silence, we know Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, you have the power to give a bracha. You always give that drasha. Here he didn't answer. He remained silent, he was humiliated and mortified. Ask the kid for a bracha. So of course you should listen to your wife. It's a good thing to say, especially if you're being videoed. And so, I call the kid over. What's your name? Shoam. Shoam. Ani Rav Pobe in North Miami. Ten li bracha. He goes back like this. Haravos atzchok mimeni. You're making fun of me? I'm a waiter. You're a rabbi. You're making a joke out of me. You don't mean it. I looked at him and I said, I'm not kidding. You were humiliated and didn't answer. Give me a bracha. And I told him very specifically what we asked for. He said it and we answered a resounding amen. Shoam walks away. He comes back 5 minutes later. Rav, can I speak to you? Sure. I'm 23, he says. My family in Eretz Yisrael is very religious. At the age of 7, I had it. I stopped at that age learning Mishnayos with my father, and I started to leave the ways of Cheder, leave year by year. By the time I was 14, I left to America. I gave it all up. For 16 years, I've had nothing of that life. He looks at me and says, but now, I'm ready to be choser b'tshuva. Because if you cared, and you were vayochim b'sar hayeled, as we said, that you believed in me to give you a bracha, I want to be choser b'tshuva. I'm ready after 16 years to turn it around. Get me a chavrusa. He's married in Aventura. He lives in Aventura, married to an Argentinian woman, a Jewish woman. I went right away. I took the receipt, the bill. I thought maybe I wouldn't have to pay it. I did have to pay it. But I took it, and on the back I wrote the phone number. I called one of our young Leiter, Rabbi David Singer. And I said, I'm sending you someone. Start learning with him. Rabbi say this Maisa happened a year and a half ago, January. Every couple of weeks, I asked Rabbi David for what I call a Shoam update. And I'll give you the short version. A year and a half later, he's chozer b'tshuva. She's chozeres b'tshuva. They're two of the finest b'nei aliyah in Knesset Yisrael. They redid their home, they redid their kitchen, they redid their dishes. They keep all of the halachas that are applicable to them ad ve'ad bichlal. They run to shiurim. They have a tzimoin lo'irov lo'lechem v'lo'tzoma lo'mayim kiyim l'shmoyes devar Hashem. I was with Shoam last week when we were asked to video for an organization this Maisa. I couldn't stop hugging him. I said, really? That's what got you? That I cared, that I listened, that I gave you a bracha? That was it. There was something that turned my life around. And I am telling you, if you'd meet Shoam and his wife and Be'ezus Hashem, future generations, they are from the finest families in Klal Yisrael. You got to be positive. And you have to believe in Vayachim B'sar Hayeled. I thought that I had the ability to do that. No more than anyone listening to me thinks they have the ability. But vice versa, you do. So I'm just proposing. I guess you could say I'm begging. For Shuvu, just take them up on something. If you had one amount in mind, give 2 or 3 times. If you can make a trip and visit the schools, then do it. If you could walk into the classroom and visit Gan Eden on this world where those kindle chavazah shmeichel, because you're bringing them a word of Torah, just do it. Whether it's beruchnius, begashmius, with money, with limud Torah, or even if it's just being positive and having a heart that cares. Let Shuvu know that you care. Yehi Ratzon, it should be the will of the Rebbeinu Shalaylam. Shuvu led by Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Avram and the very dedicated staff. You just heard on the video, Rav Pam quoted that if you want to find the Shechina, so you go into the Cheder. Be'ezus Hashem, we should be Zoicha to Mashiach b'mheira b'yameinu, and you can be assured that the movement that Rav Pam started, the movement of Shuvu, will be right there. Join the hundreds of thousands that have been affected. Get involved in even a greater darga in the movement. And Be'ezras Hashem, with warmth and with love, we will all be mekar of these hearts back to Avinu Shabashamayim. Hatzlacha Rabba Umeruba.